Hi everybody, Dr. Carey here. Today I'm talking about preventing injuries when you're training for a marathon. I'm a 20-time marathon runner. Last year I did 4 events and this was the Manitoba Marathon, and I really enjoyed that. There's a great story behind that I'm hoping to tell you at the end of this video. So to prevent injuries, what can you do? Well, it's good to start small. So when you're starting to train for a marathon, you just want to gradually build up. In fact, I tell my clients to start walking and then do a kind of a moderate sprint for about 10 seconds, and then walk for a minute and then do a little bit of a sprint for 10 seconds. Not all out, but a little bit of a jog just to get warmed up. And then do about 20 to 30 minutes of that. And then when you go back out the next time, which should be 2 days later, you do a little bit longer, maybe 15 seconds every minute. And you build yourself up so you get into this continuous jogging pace. That gives the shins a chance to get used to the impact, especially the anterior tibialis muscle, which attaches to the shin bone. You want to make sure you're not causing any shin splints, any ankle injuries, or anything like plantar fasciitis, which is on the bottom part of the foot. So really important that you're breaking into the training gradually, and then having a good training routine so that as you get closer and closer to the event, you get stronger and stronger and not risk any injuries by overtraining or undertraining. So that's what we're going to be talking about this coming Saturday at our free webinar. I'll put a link in the show notes below. You can click on that link and sign up for that event. I'll have some other options for you as I develop a masterclass series on training for a marathon, as well as some one-on-one coaching for you too. But for now, you can sign up for the free webinar, which is this coming Saturday. The story behind the Manitoba Marathon is that this was in June. It was actually Father's Day, and they like to do it every Father's Day. And I've probably run this event. This is my 4th time. And I got there, and my family was there, my mom and my sister. And when I got to the start line, it was really hot. It was in the mid-20s. In Fahrenheit, that would be closer to 80 degrees. And this was like first thing in the morning in June, which isn't typical for Winnipeg because it's a colder climate. So I got to the start line. We started the race, and the first few kilometers felt amazing. I was running really fast. In fact, I don't know if you ever experienced it, but I had to kind of rein myself in or pull myself back a bit because I knew if I kept that pace up, it wouldn't be good later on. So I kind of held myself back. I was running very easily, really enjoying the other runners around me, the scenery. But the sun was coming up at that point, and it was getting hotter. As we got to about the 5 to 7 kilometer mark, I started sweating a lot. And I usually sweat a bit during a race, but I was sweating more than usual. And as I got to the aid stations, and there weren't that many, I was grabbing a couple waters, and that's what I usually do. But I noticed other people were grabbing more water than normal. And by the time I got to the next aid station, they were running out of water. And so it started to become a problem. When I got to the halfway point, the police were telling us that they were going to cancel the race and for us to walk back. But I was already halfway out there and didn't want to walk back because that would take forever. And as the sun was getting higher in the sky, it was getting hotter. It was over 30 degrees, getting into the 90s. And this was like still pretty early in the morning. So I decided to keep running with a group of runners. And as I was running with this small group down the course, we got to aid stations. People were with bullhorns saying the race has been canceled, walk back, continue at your own risk, which is always unsettling when you're running a marathon, right? So I continued running with this group. I thought if something happens to me, at least I have their support, and vice versa. And as we kept running, we got to the stadium. People were there to guide us into the stadium. As I ran underneath the stadium where the players go in and came out onto the field, there were people in the stands. They were cheering. There was an announcer. I had my video on the big screen, and I ran down the course into the finish line and got this wonderful medal. So I'm glad I continued. Maybe it's a metaphor for life that, when people tell you stop, or maybe when people tell you it's dangerous, you have to use common sense. And of course, we ran at a pace that was comfortable, slower than normal for the remainder of the race, drank lots of water where we could find it. But it was a good lesson for me. I'm very proud of getting this medal. It was a memorable experience. I've never had a race canceled midway, but it definitely has led to some good stories. So I'll be telling more stories on Saturday at the marathon training. It'll be online. To get a ticket, you can go to Eventbrite. I'll put the link in the show notes below, and I hope to see you guys there.